recording this video with permission from Scholastic. Welcome back everyone. Today we're going to be starting with chapter 47 of the Tale of Despereaux. We're very close to the end, so hang in there. If you've been following along, you know that last chapter we left off with Despereaux almost being discovered by Botticelli Rimorso and the rats in the dungeon. They realized, I think it was called mouse blood or something. Oh, yes, the last chapter was called Mouse Blood, yes. And so the rats are kind of scheming in the dungeon, realizing they sense a mouse is down there. And so we as the readers are kind of anticipating what's going to happen, and we're kind of worried about if Despereaux might be in danger. And so this next chapter is called No Choice. And so I want you to stick with me. We're going to try to read a few more chapters today, and we're very close to the end. So if we don't finish today, we'll finish tomorrow. So stay with me. This chapter is called No Choice. Despereaux stood trembling on the steps. The thread was most definitely gone. He could not hear it. He could not see it. He should have tied it to himself when he had the chance, but it was too late now. Despereaux's dire situation suddenly became quite clear to him. He was a 2-ounce mouse alone in a dark, twisting dungeon full of rats. He had nothing but a sewing needle with which to defend himself. He had to find a princess, and he had to save her once he found her. "It's impossible," he said in the darkness. "I can't do it." He stood very still. "I'll go back," he said. But he didn't move. "I have to go back." He took a step backward. "But I can't go back. I don't have a choice. I have no choice." He took one step forward and then another. No choice. His heart beat out to him as he went down the stairs. No choice, no choice, no choice. At the bottom of the stairs, the rat Botticelli sat waiting, and when Despereaux stepped from the last stair onto the dungeon floor, Botticelli called out to him as if he were a long-lost friend. "Ah," said Botticelli, "there you are, exactly. I've been waiting for you." Despereaux saw the dark shape of the rat, that thing that he had feared and dreaded for so long, finally step out of the gloom and come to greet him. "Welcome, welcome," said Botticelli. Despereaux put his paw on the needle. "Ah," said Botticelli, "you are armed. How charming." He put his paw up in the air. "I surrender. Oh, yes, certainly, exactly, I surrender." "I," said Despereaux. "Yes," said Botticelli, "you." He took the locket from around his neck, and he began to swing it back and forth. "Please go on." "I don't want to hurt you," said Despereaux. "I just need to get by you. I am on a quest." "Really," said Botticelli. "How extraordinary. A mouse on a quest." Back and forth went the locket. "A quest for what?" "A quest to save the princess." "The princess," said Botticelli. The princess. Everything seems to be about the princess these days. The king's men were down here searching for her, you know. They didn't find her. That goes without saying. But now a mouse has arrived, and he is on a quest to save the princess." "Yes," said Despereaux. He took a step to the left of Botticelli. "How inspiring," said Botticelli. He lazily took a step to his right, blocking Despereaux's way. "Why the hurry, little friend?" "Because," said Despereaux, "I have to." Yes, you have to save the princess, exactly. But before you save her, you must find her, correct?" "Yes," said Despereaux. "What if," said Botticelli, "what if I told you that I knew exactly where the princess is? What if I told you that I could take you right directly to her?" Said Despereaux. His voice shook. His paw on the needle trembled. Why would you do that?" "Why would I do that? Why would I help you? Why, to be of service, to do my part for humanity, to aid in the saving of a princess." "But you are a rat," supplied Botticelli. "Yes, I am a rat, and I see by your trembling that the great exaggerated rumors of our evil nature has reached your oversized ears." "Yes," said Despereaux. "If," said Botticelli, swinging the locket back and forth, "if you allow me to be of assistance, you will be doing me a tremendous favor. Not only can I do a good deed for you and for the princess, but my actions will help dispel the terrible myth of evil that seems to surround rats everywhere. Will you let me assist you? Will you let me assist myself and my kind?" So I want you to stop and make a prediction. Do you think Botticelli is being honest and he does want to do something good and doesn't want to be defined by the rat stereotypes? Or do you think he's being sneaky and trying to trick Despereaux? I want you to stop and make a prediction, and then let's see what happens. I'm curious which side you think you're on. Oh, looks like the reader addresses this too. Reader, was it a trick? Of course it was. Botticelli did not want to be of service. Far from it. You know what Botticelli wanted. He wanted others to suffer. Specifically, he wanted the small mouse to suffer. How best to do that? Why, take him right directly where he wanted, the princess. Let him see what his heart desired, and then, and only then, faced with what he loved, would Despereaux die. And at the end of it all, how tasty the mouse would be, seasoned with hope and tears and flour and oil and thwarted love. My name, little friend, is Botticelli Rimorso, and you may trust me. You must trust me. Will you tell me your name? Despereaux Tilling. Despereaux Tilling, take your paw from your weapon. Come with me. Despereaux stared at him. Come, come, said Botticelli. Let go of your needle. Take hold of my tail. I will lead you to the princess. I promise. What, reader, in your experience, is the promise of a rat worth? That's right. Zip, zero, nada, goose eggs. But I must ask you this question too. What else was there for Despereaux to hold on to? You're right again. Nothing. And so the mouse reached out. He took hold of the rat's tail. So I'm just going to continue right on to the next chapter so we have enough time. This chapter is called On the Tail of a Rat. Have you ever had hold of the tail of a rat? At best, it is an unpleasant sensation, scaly and cold, similar to holding on to a small, narrow snake. At worst, when you are dependent upon a rat for your survival, and when a part of you is certain that you are being led nowhere except to your death, it is a hideous sensation, indeed, to have nothing but a rat's tail to cling to. Nonetheless, Despereaux held on to Botticelli Rimorso, and the rat led him deeper and deeper into the dungeon. Despereaux's eyes had, by this point, adjusted quite well to the darkness, though it would have been better if they had not, for the things he saw made him shiver and shake. What did he see? He saw the floor of the dungeon was littered with tufts of fur, knots of red thread, and the skeletons of mice. Everywhere there was tiny, white bones glowing in the darkness, and he saw, in the dungeon tunnels through which Botticelli led him, the bones of human beings, too, grinning skulls and delicate finger bones, rising up out of the darkness and pointing towards some truth best left unspoken. Despereaux closed his eyes. But it didn't help. He saw as if his eyes were still open, wide, the bones, the tufts of hair, the knots of thread, the despair. Ha-ha, exactly, Botticelli laughed as he negotiated the twists and turns. Oh yes, exactly. If what was in front of Despereaux was too horrible to contemplate, what followed behind him was, perhaps, even worse. Rats, a happy, hungry, vengeful parade of rats, their noses up in the air, sniffing. Mouse, sang out one rat joyfully. Oh, yes, yes, mouse, another agreed. But something else, too. Soup, called out another rat. Yes, soup, the others agreed. Blood, sang the rat. Blood, they all sang together. And then they sang, Here, mousy, 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 here, little mousy. Botticelli called out to the other rats. Mine, he said. This little treasure is all mine, gentlemen and ladies. Please, I beg you, do not infringe on my discovery. Mr. Rimorso, said Despereaux. He turned and looked behind him and saw the rats, their red eyes, and their smiling mouths. He closed his eyes again. He kept them closed. Mr. Rimorso, he shouted. Yes, said Botticelli. Mr. Rimorso, said Despereaux, and he was crying now. He couldn't help it. Please, the princess. Tears, shouted the rats. We smell tears, Mousie, we do. Please, shouted Despereaux. Here's a picture of Despereaux getting very scared by all of these evil rats. Little friend, said Botticelli, little Despereaux Tilling, I promised you. I will keep that promise. The rat stopped. Look ahead of you, he said. What do you see? Despereaux opened his eyes. Light, he said. Exactly, said Botticelli. Light. Okay, so that's all for today. I'm going to post another video finishing up this this book. YouTube doesn't allow me to post super long videos, so I have to keep them around 10 minutes or so. But I promise we will finish this book. Stay tuned for our next video, and I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.